Yeah, one more person. Yes, welcome to the Gurukul class. As you all know, we decided to move it from the weekend to weekdays every other Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:45 p.m. Pacific time. And what we'll do is we'll keep the class to 1 hour, 15 minutes, and we'll have it more frequently every other week so that your weekends you can spend with your family. And now it's summer, so you may want to go out and spend time with family. And after summer, we'll see what we should do with the timings based on what everyone says. Okay. So I'm at the class start Korea. So first, what do we do first? We pray to Ganpati. No? So we'll say Vakratunda. So you all can unmute, hold Shihat to what to Karate in prayer. And let's say Vakratunda all together. Okay. Vakratunda.
महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा सर्वदा
Thank you, everyone. So, today we have two sections. First, Arun Ma'am will be telling you about some temples in India. So that's a unique topic for you. You'll get to know some fun stuff about how temples were built in India and some amazing technologies that Indians had thousands of years ago. That's the first thing. Anima Kiri, second, Sadhana Pachi and Venkat Ma'am will have a Konkani lesson for you. Okay. And I won't tell you what the surprise is. You will learn some Konkani phrases. I'll just hand it over to Arun Ma'am. Unmute Kari Papa.
I'll share my screen. Oh, it says host has disabled sharing. Can I do that now? Okay. Yeah. See my screen?
Wait, this time.
Okay. So we'll just start talking about some temples in India, but these are not ordinary temples. These are ancient temples built 800 years ago or 900 years ago, and something that I'm going to talk about were built maybe 1,000 years ago. But before I start talking about the temples, just want to give one information or one update. I'm sure your parents have told you about, but in case you're not heard about or you are yet to hear about from your parents, I just want to remind you that today, or rather tonight, there is a lunar eclipse. Chandra Grahan mantati, Konkani ne. So there is a lunar eclipse. So most of you must have heard or must have been taught by your teachers as to what is a lunar eclipse. All right? So lunar eclipse happens when, everyone knows that, the earth goes around the sun and the moon goes around the earth. So this keeps happening all the time. They don't sleep at night. They always go around and around each other. So sometimes what happens is sun, moon, and the earth, they all come in one line. Okay. So whenever the earth comes in line, but between moon and the sun, the shadow of earth falls on the moon. So, and that is when this lunar eclipse or Chandra Grahan happens. And that always happens on a full moon day. Purnima mantat nama, that is Agi. Ajirati, that is going to happen. So now this shadow of Earth on the moon, it actually, if you see, it gradually starts appearing on the moon from a corner, and then slowly it moves over and covers the whole moon. That is tonight. In today's lunar eclipse, it covers the whole moon. Sometimes it may cover only the part of the moon, depending on where the position of the moon actually is. So if the moon is covered partially by Earth's shadow, it is known as partial eclipse. But sometimes, comparatively rarely, whole moon is covered by Earth's shadow. That is known as total eclipse. So, but you can really see the shadow of the Earth move from one corner of the moon to the other corner, or completely cover it, and then slowly, while going, it gets out of the moon also. So this also is a way of finding out that the Earth is round. One of the proofs that Earth is round, because the shadow is round, in circular in shape as it starts moving. And the shadow of the Earth falls on the moon. It does not mean that if you climb on a high-rise building and raise your hand, the shadow of your hand will appear on the moon. Because you can see on the moon, because that is very, very far away, right? So tonight, the lunar eclipse is going to start at 1:45 a.m. I'm not sure exactly about the start, 45 minutes or whatever, but around 1:45 a.m. And it will be peak. That means total lunar eclipse will happen at 4:45 a.m. as per Pacific time. On the East Coast, it's of course 3 hours ahead. So unfortunately for the East Coast, when the lunar eclipse starts there and it's happening, the sun is also out. So I don't know, they will be able to see the full glory of the lunar eclipse. Here you can see, but unfortunately for us, what is happening is it is at midnight, after midnight, right? So if any one of you is interested, just open your eyes, go to the window, open your eyes, take a look and come back and sleep, okay? So just remember the time. But in case you cannot, nowadays, of course, you don't have to worry. Somebody or the other will put it on YouTube tomorrow, right? So you can watch it on the YouTube. I just wanted to let you know, I will not take too much time on this. I'm sure your school has already taught you more details about the eclipse. If not, as you grow, you will come to know. So now, so far we talked about the moon, Chandra Baddal Ulele, Chandra eclipse. Of course, sun also plays a part in that. But sun, we know sun is very important to us, right? So right from the beginning of the times, I mean, right from ages, as they say, right? Many thousands of years, people always knew the importance of sun. So from the moon, we will go to the sun now. Chandrartanu, Suryarvatat, not physically, just talk-wise. So why we want to talk about sun now is that if you can see on the screen, we are going to talk about the sun temple. Even in the ancient times, people always worshipped sun. Devaka, Nai, sun, Surya, Nai, Dev Mantali, Dev, Monuchit Kele, all our elders, and they always worshipped sun. And there were few temples, not too many, but few sun temples in India. And when I talk of treating sun as God, I am talking about Hindus, Hindu Dharma, Hindus of India. So there were so many sun temples. One of them, and the most important in terms of its features as well as importance historically as well as currently, is Konark Sun Temple. So let us talk about it for a few minutes. Time, okay? So what I want to tell you is about little bit of history about the temple, but also and mainly I want to tell you about the scientific side of this temple. You know, when I say scientific side, now I want to point out one thing. आम्ही गुरुकुल स्टार्ट करताना आम्ही कल सांगेल सगळ्यांक की आम्ही चेडवांक इंडियन कल्चरा बद्दल शिकयतात और आमगेले पौराणिक कथा सांगतात ती म्हळ्यार पुराणा बद्दल सांगतात. Quran manakala, it's all of the old scriptures and all that. Old books, Davagal Badala saw, temples Badala saw, Paraile. Example, Ramal Badal Ramayana, Krishna Kani, Ani, Mahabharata Kani. All these were written maybe 10,000 years back. And of course, there were so many versions, different people wrote these stories again and again also. Now, similarly, there were so many other Puranic katha. I think we had, Sheila had told a story last Gurukul about Nandi. So, asli sagli stories, so that's Nandi las badala saw, or Ravan badala, or Ganpatil story, Saraswatil story, or any other. These kind of stories are known as Pauranic katha because they are very, very old stories, and they will tell you about what happened 10,000 years back, 5,000 years back, or even hundreds of years back. Purpose, what is the purpose of telling you these stories? That is 2-3 purposes are there. One, of course, you should know about historical facts about India and Indian culture. And also, you should know about God. Deva Badala, Batas Kamun. सगळं कहाणीचं देवाबद्दल आणि त्या काळाचे लायफा बद्दल आणि सगळं असतात. नाव आता अशी जाता एक म्हणता की नाव द थिंग्स हॅव चेंज नो सो देर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स आता मेन आमगेल देव जालो कोण म्हळ्यार गुगल. सो आता गुगल केल्यार यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टँड ऑर यू विल बी एबल टू सी ऑल द स्टोरीज अबाउट right from the beginning till now, or even reasons for that, reasons why some things have happened or how they will happen and all that. So theoretical data, some people find it difficult to believe some stories, Puranic katha. So what happens is, I mean, we will tell you some story, and like for example, रामायणांतू अशें आसा की रावणाने सीतेक उकोण भरतना he, when he forcefully took Sita, he took her from India to Sri Lanka by plane. So now people will say, especially Americans may say, the plane was invented by Wright brothers in 1918. So Ravan ankanchi plane वापरला बा. So the purpose of telling you all this is की हे पौराणिक कथा म्हणून सांगच्यान तू और तुमकां ताजे बद्दल बताशाक एक पर्पज आसा. It is all, you don't have to prove everything scientifically. These are all stories. These are all stories which have some, I mean, you will know something about the morals and the, the purpose of, praying God and all these things. So that jikati hai story sangastati. But whether it is true that Ravana had a plane at that time or not, this Ramayana was written maybe about 5 to 10,000 years back by Valmiki. So at least at that time he knew that there is something like a plane. So which means all these facts, they may be scientifically right or not. There was some fact involved in it. So similarly, we have this, worship of the sun. So now for that purpose, this Konark temple was built for the worship of the sun. Originally, they say the original Konark temple was built by Krishna's son, Lord Krishna's son. Krishna Devagale Puttane, he built the first Konark temple. But of course, that was maybe around 5,000 years back. So slowly, that, became very old and then it started collapsing and all that. And after that, actually, this picture that you see is of the uh, temple built by one of the kings of Orissa, a state known as Orissa in India. It's on the east coast of India. This was built in 1250 AD, which means nearly 1,000 years back, 900 years back. Say. So that temple was built uh, by the king from Orissa state. I mean, at that time it was known as, I think, Kalinga. And this was built, the best feature of this is this whole temple was built using uh, granite stones, and no cement or any other material was used to build this. The granite was polished to look, make it shiny. The large pieces of granite was used, and to join the two pieces, iron plates were used. And best part is there were so many magnets, which were uh, part of the temple. And because there were iron plates between the walls, these magnets were holding the various pieces together. Um, instead of cement, the iron plates were used and the magnets were used to hold the building together. So that shows the scientific knowledge that ancient people of India had even 900 years back. There were so many magnets around the temple, but there were two very powerful magnets. One on the ceiling of the temple, other one under the ground. Now, initially, I mean, original temple, the tower was around 200 feet high. And the magnet at the top was so powerful that it was holding, you see, there was a statue of, naturally, it's a temple. And what happens in the temple normally is you build a sort of a platform in a small room known as Garbhagudi Mantataka. In the main room of the temple, you build a platform and keep your idol, Yavagal, Murti, we keep it on the platform. But here in this temple, there was no platform. That was the main feature of this temple. There was a statue of sun. It's a sun temple, so obviously there was a statue of the sun, quite tall, and It was in the center of the room and it was hanging. It was not touching the ground. Not hanging meaning there was no wire or anything. It was just uh, floating in the air. And you know how it was floating? It was floating in the air because of these two powerful magnets. So, so the the magnets are so powerful, and there were two magnets, one at the top, one at the bottom, and they balanced all these magnets in such a way that the force from the top and the bottom managed to keep the statue floating in the air. So that shows, you know, how scientifically, I mean, how much knowledge they had about all this magnetism and how to control the force so that the statue remains floating and all that. And even the building was held by the magnetic force. But, you know, when this uh, temple was built originally, it was in the middle of the sea. Middle of the sea in the sense it was on the coast and it was surrounded on three sides by sea. So now what used to happen was, because these magnets were so powerful, and you know, in the sea, ocean, there are a lot of ships going around, all right? I mean, for trade, you know, they were taking all the goods, cargo from one place to the other by sea. And that time, you know, there were the people from Portugal, Portuguese people, they had started business with India. So they had lot of ships coming from Portugal to different parts of India, and one of the main ports in east on the east coast was Puri. This temple is in a place known as Puri on the east coast of India. So these ships were carrying a lot of goods and moving around and going to different places. Now, I don't know whether you know, in the modern times, that is not the practice, but in older time, even up to 40, 50 years back, the ships, you know, used to use compass for, you know, finding out the directions while Mariner's complex. Okay, Mariner's complex. Compass, sorry. Mariner's compass to find out the direction on which they should go. I mean, compass is nothing but a small watch-like thing with a needle which is always pointing to north, because that also uses a magnet. And once they know that this is north, they used to find out what are the other directions and how much you know, where they have to turn the ships and all that. Now, as I said, compass is mainly controlled by magnet again. So what used to happen, these temples magnets were so powerful that their energy, magnetic energy, used to reach all these ships which were, you know, going maybe 1 or 2 miles away from the coast, but still they used to get affected. So the compasses were not working when they used to come to this place, Puri, near Puri. So there were so many accidents because especially in the nights, they couldn't see. And then, you know, they used to control using the maps and the compass. So they couldn't see, and there were a lot of accidents, and Portuguese lost many ships. And of course, with the ships, they lost the people also and the goods also. So they got angry. You know, they said, we have to do something about this, otherwise we will keep losing the ships. What they did was they came on shore with the forts and they attacked the temple. They destroyed some, you know, walls or the ceilings and all that, and then took both the magnets away. So the uh, I mean, from their point of view, maybe they were right. But they were, you know, losing a lot of ships, a lot of people, and all that. But the magnet was the main thing which was holding together this building as well as the statue. So what happened once they took the magnets away, slowly, this temple started disintegrating. and it collapsed. So now what you see here, if you can see the tower on the temple, that's only about 80 feet high, whereas the original one was about 200 feet high. And inside, once you go into the temple, there is no idol. Devnath, Suri Devna. But one good thing is when the temple started collapsing, the people at that time, they took the statues. Portuguese did not take the idols. That was one thing good. So what the people did was they took these idols of God, and nearby in Puri there is another world famous temple known as Jagannath Temple. So all these statues were kept in Puri Jagannath Temple. Even now there is the one main statue is still there. I mean, it may not be the one which was magnetic and all that, but there is a large statue because I'm Yozgal Tawali. We were taken there by the guide and explained to us. So what happened as far as function as a temple, then slowly disintegrated. Okay. Then so now it has more of a historic value, and it also has some scientific features. If you can see here, there are wheels on the wall. There are wheels on the wall here. There are 24 wheels. And this sort of represents even when it was built as a chariot or Rathu, Suryagal Rathu. It's the chariot of the sun. So that chariot was being pulled by 7 horses. And there are 24 wheels to this chariot. Yes, chariot, sorry. And so how that is represented is now there are 24 wheels. That means 12 pairs of wheels. Now these 12 pairs represent 12 months. As you know, the earth goes around the sun, it takes 1 year, 12 months. So to represent that, there are 12 pairs of wheels in that. Now each of these wheels is also a sundial. You know what is a sundial? You must have seen, I think even Disney has one sundial. That means it's a sort of a circuit. To me, watch Padaitana, how do you know the time? You have a circle on which you have numbers written from 1 to 12, and then between the numbers, for example, between 8 and 9, there are 5 markings, which will tell you minutes, hours and minutes. And then there are 2 hands or 2, kante mantatu. In Konkani, you say kante. And your parents or maybe teacher even must have taught you how to see the time on the clock, right? You will say, okay, hod kanta 8 rasa, san kanta 12 rasa, that means 8 घंटे zale. So the same way, each of these wheels represents a sundial. So when in the morning, when the sun falls on those wheels, based on the shadow, where the shadow is you can make out the time. So let me go to the next slide. See this is the wheel. Okay, this way there are 24. You can see this slide now. So 24 wheels like this, and each wheel has what are known as this main ones, thick ones. They are known as spokes. There are 8 spokes. So this whole wheel around the circle represents 24 hours, and the distance between 2 spokes represents 3 hours. This is just like the hand on the wall clock. So this is the similar representation. In those days, 700-800 years back, they have designed all this. And between those 2 spokes, there is a smaller spoke here. Right? There are 8 of these also. Let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So if you, as you can see, these orange ones, there are 8 of them, the large ones, and these 8 represent 3 hours. The time between two spokes is 3 hours. And then between those two large spokes, there is one more a small spoke, right? Like that also, there are 8. So those 3 hours, 240 minutes are divided into 8 again. So between one large spoke and smaller spoke, the time for the shadow to travel from one spoke to the other is 30 minutes. I mean, you don't have to worry too much about this. Just I'm telling you just for knowledge. So, and then what happens is between those two spokes, as you can see here on the wheel or on the largest screen that shows the detail, so there are all these beads. Okay. So these beads represent, just like on your wall clock, between two numbers, you have those lines which will tell you the minute. Same way, this 30 minutes, each bead is 3 minutes. And with each bead, again, it's so large that, once the shadow touches the beginning of the bead, it's 1 minute. And when it goes to the center of the bead, it's 2 minutes. And then it goes to uh, third place, the other end, it is 1 more minute. So, let's not go into all those details. We'll just say that these beads represent the minute. And as you can see, the shadow, when the sun comes in there, the shadow will fall on one of those beads, and from the spoke and the smaller spoke and the beads, you can make out the time. Then, of course, what happens when the sunset? Now, there is some way of finding out the time even in the nights also, but we are not going to talk about that. So, as you can see, Konark Sun Temple is a temple, was one of the very few temples where sun was worshipped, and it was religiously also very important. But it also scientifically it included so many features related to sun, meaning even the season. There are ways of finding out the season, when is summer, when is winter, and all that, and also when the time of the day and all those things. So this is about the Konark temple. Now the reason, let me just go. Okay. The reason I'm talking about more about the scientific side of it is also because I just wanted to let how the ancient people, how much knowledge they had in India, of course in other places also like Europe and also. But I want to point out one more place where this question of science of ancient India can be seen. Now, this, I don't know how many of you have gone to India and gone to Delhi. They or have, studied about features about Delhi, India. One of the attractions is this tower on the right. It is in pink color, that is known as Qutub Minar, which was built um, around, I think, 1200 years back. But what I want to talk about is not Qutub Minar. That will be a story by itself. We'll talk some other time maybe. But there is a pillar next to that, if you can see, right? So that is, slightly grayish color. Now that is a iron pillar, which was again made some more than 3,000 years ago by one of the kings. It was made at some other place and then ultimately brought to Delhi and installed here. But the main feature of that is this pole is made out of iron. So if you have anything in iron, you know that, after some time it started getting rusted, right? It starts getting rust. So even if you have a shining um, a pillar or small bar or whatever it is, after 1 or 2 years, it turns brown and a lot of rust comes in, shining goes off and all that. But here, this iron pillar, even after 3,000 years, there is no rust. I mean, there are two pillars like this in India. One is in Delhi next to Qutub Minar. The other one is in our own Karnataka, South Canara district or Udupi district now, I think, in a temple known as Kollur Temple, Mukambika Temple. There is a iron pillar there also, which is also supposed to be 1,000-year-old, and there is no rust in 1,000 years. And how that happened was they used a certain type of, certain mix of iron and other chemicals at that time, create a what is known as alloy or a mixed, a type of iron which doesn't rust. Yeah, wrought iron and certain లేపు అంటాను తేవడాలి. It's just a sort of a solution, Ayurvedic solution or organic. Now, in current terms, if you want to see, it's an organic solution which was applied on that lep layil taka, because of which it had not rusted for thousands of years. So even that knowledge ancient Indians had. So that is what I wanted to say. But that's why I was showing this. Main thing today I wanted to talk about the temple, but also about the knowledge that India had and all the capabilities they had, which they used in the construction of all these temples. Now, somehow it frees. Okay, yeah. Now next I want to talk about Jagannath Temple, but I think we are done with Sun Temple, we are done with the iron pillar. And before we talk about Jagannath Temple, let us do one thing. See, I think you had school today and I must be tired. And now again, you have been half an hour? Wait. Half an hour you have been sitting. 40. So let us take just 2 minutes to relax and just stretch before we go to the next temple. So can you all get up and stand and raise both your hands? Both your hands, Kushi. Raise your hands. Up, raise your hands. And Kriti. Okay. Kriti. Get up, please, and raise your hands. And now do a namaste. Namaste. Namaskar karat. Hath to gano. Hath hanu. Hold it near your heart. Namaste. Now do it 5 times. Okay. Again, lift your hands.
The end bit of Allah.
Namaste. Bring it down. Yeah. And lift again. Do it 5 times. Okay. That will loosen your muscles, So one Tyler batati. Okay. Salve 5 times. Done? 5. Okay. Now stand up again, please. Stand up, Pranav. And now raise your leg, left leg, and bend your knees. Left leg. Left leg raise kono, bend karati, and make it straight again. So do it 5 times. That also left leg. Yeah. 5 times. Okay. Bend it for just 2 seconds. Just bend, yeah, for 2 seconds. You don't have to take. Okay, 5 times alwa. Then once you have done it 5 times, do it with the right leg now. Right leg, lift it, bend your knee, put it down, and put it down. Few seconds.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, done. All are finished. Now lift your left leg again. Left leg. You see left leg.
Uh,
Now don't put your left leg down. Now lift the right leg also. No, don't do it. I just wanted to see if just like the sun idol in Konar, can you also, do you have some magnets in your house? Okay.
No, the Portuguese took the magnets.
who took the magnets?
Portuguese.
Portuguese took the
I
magnets.
thought you said Trump took the magnets. Anyway, let's go back now. Now sit down.
Yeah.
Go back. I hope you have
Sit down.
slightly relaxed your muscles. Let's talk for another 15-20 minutes. Okay? Yeah. So let us talk about another temple known as Jagannath Puri temple. Okay. Now, this temple is, again, I am not going to talk too much about the Dev. Dev Thai, Dev is Jagannath. Jagannath म्हणजे कोण कृष्ण कृष्ण म्हणतात ती विष्णूला अवतार. So this temple has mainly three idols. One is Jagannath, second one is Balram, or that, as it is known there, as he is known there, Balabhadra, and the third is Subhadra. Subhadra is Krishna's sister. So here तीन statues असत थंय. And one more thing for which is famous for, this temple is famous for, is Rath Yatra. But I'm not going to talk about all that. I'll just quickly give, I don't know whether you can see this.
Can you see
Can
it?
you see the, where?
Maybe we can pin that video. So everybody, if you can pin the video,
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think now.
the Dev Distala.
Dev, why? So the one on my rightmost is Jagannath, and the lady in the center is Subhadra and Balram or Balbhadra, as is known in Orissa. Balbhadra. Balram, Balbhadra. Yeah. So how they were. Now, some other day, maybe for the, in the interest of time, I will not talk too much about Dev, as Avagal story, some other time maybe. But again, going back to the scientific side of this is the temple, okay? And sorry. And this temple again has a 200 feet tower, and on top of it, there is a Sudarshan Chakra. You know Sudarshan Chakra konala hai? Konala has generally? Yes.
Krishna.
Okay.
Vishnu.
Ani Pranav. Correct. Very right. So, have Sudarshan Chakra, sir, and on top of it, there is a flag, right? Please have a look at this, because this is what we are going to talk about. Two things. So now what happens is, this is actually about 3 miles from the seashore, okay? This temple. And this is the Sudarshan, this is the tower. This is the close-up of the tower, which is there on the Mukut Mantati Tajivun hai Sudarshan Chakra Davarlas. It's about, I think, 8 feet high or 12 feet high. I mean, it's on top, so that's why it looks so small. The feature of this is, Hai Chakra, you go anywhere around the temple up to 2 miles, you can see that. On any road you go, anywhere you go, you can see this. And from wherever you go, it will appear as if the Sudarshan Chakra is facing you.
Any side.
Any side of the temple. So if you, for example, now let's say you go towards the west and look at it, you'll feel as if the Sudarshan Chakra is facing you. And then if you go east, take another road and go east and go from there, the Sudarshan Chakra will face you, and then anywhere, okay? So that is one special feature. It is designed in such a way that, from wherever you look, it is facing you. And other thing about this is, see, on top of it, there is a flag flying, right? Now, you just had Cinco de Mayo, eh? So you might have seen a lot of people traveling in cars carrying a Mexican flag high, holding high. And then when they're traveling by car, what happens? The flag always flies backwards, right? Because the car is moving forward, the wind is coming in that direction, the flag flies backwards. And that is the feature everywhere. I mean, the flags will fly in the direction in which the wind is blowing. Whereas here on this temple, the flag always flies in the direction opposite to the wind direction. Yeah. So anytime, if the wind is blowing from east to west, the flag will fly in the other direction. So that is another feature of this temple. Okay, and this is about the Sudarshan Chakra.
Do we know how or why? How is the chakra?
I mean, how and why? There are various stories, Pauranic again, which always will be obviously related to God, right? Bhakti Miti and Deval Krapemiti. That is what people say. Of course, if you Google, it will also give other reasons, saying that, because of the wind direction. See, always what happens is, the breeze always flows from the direction of the sea inland to inland in daytime, and the reverses in the night. Whereas in Puri, it's the other way around. So people say that is because of its location and the, whatever the topography and all that. But Davagal Vishwasashi Lok Mantate and Davamiti. So that is the other thing. Then one more thing.
Actually have seen this.
Yeah.
When we were there, we saw that the wind was blowing in this direction and the flag was moving in that direction, that way. And we were all getting surprised also why this is happening.
And, every day this flag is changed and a person climbs this tower, like there's nothing like a ladder or anything. He just climbs this, goes on top and changes the flag. Of course, when we went there, it was given to us as prasad.
The priest, he gave it to us.
Yeah, the priest. But the other feature of this temple is that there is no shadow. Right. If you see, wherever the sun is, there is no shadow on the temple. No shadow falls on the temple. That's another thing which people say. It's also because of the architecture. They designed it in such a way that there is no shadow. But also people say it's because of Jagannath. So these are the things. And then...
And also that no bird sits on
top. Yeah. The other thing is no bird ever flies on that Gopur mantar tower. Mukuta unstanu. Kadnai. There is no bird sits on that or flies on that. So that is another thing. And the last thing, not last, there are so many things, but in the interest of time, one more thing is, there are 4 gates to going into the temple, and this is the main one. It is known as Simhadwar. Now, as I said, this temple is about 3 miles from the beach or seashore. So what happens is, when you go in, as you get into under this gate, you can hear the sound of sea waves. All the sea is 3 miles. But you just walk into the temple, maybe 5 steps, turn back, and walk back. While going out, you cannot hear the waves. So it's only while getting into the.
Only while getting in.
Yeah. So all these things, and of course, there are so many other things, but for the time being, I think I'll stop here in the interest of time, because it's nearly 1:25, and
That's
I
amazing.
don't know whether you want to have a break, but
No, actually, that's amazing because our ancient Indians had so much technology. If we start listing out, there is no end. But it's really amazing. The way they constructed everything, all the temples, they knew the astrological positions. They knew so much. There was so much technology, chemical technology, everything. That's
Yes.
really amazing. Hopefully, that was all good information and interesting to you all.
I just want to stop here because Sadhana Pachi and Venkat Ma'am have some more interesting things. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Arun Ma'am. It was really amazing. I mean, Konark and Puri visit Kelal Mankdale. So many facts you don't realize. I mean, we go to the temple, but all these hidden things, you don't have an idea. So it was really fascinating.
Because it purely depends on the guide you have. And of course, as far as Konark is concerned, 1 mile from there, this Archaeological Department of India has a museum, and they have all these facts.
Yeah, all these facts are there.
Okay, so
very nice, Arun Ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks, Kedar. And hope everyone liked it. Anyway, over
But
to.
I have a question.
Anna
Why
has a
can't just people carry a bird cage and then take out the bird and put it on there?
No, not a single bird. You won't find even a single bird on that Gopur.
And also
there is no plane that flies above the Mukut. Not
on the temple.
On the temple, in fact.
Above the temple. But that people say there is there are ways of, always when you talk of God, people will give some scientific reason, or some people say that that space has been declared as no-fly zone, but I have not seen any notification.
But I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Say. Who's this?
So my question is that, so why does the person climb up there?
To change the flag every day. You know that orange colored flag which is flying on top? Every day it's a custom.
At 5 o'clock.
Every day at 5 o'clock he climbs, and that too without the use of a ladder or anything. Just freehand. Literally like a monkey. Yeah. He just
like
catches hold of
climbing a coconut tree.
Correct.
Yeah. No grip, nothing. He just climbs so fast, reaches that 200 feet above, removes the flag and changes with the new one and comes down.
Vaishnavi has a question and Khushi has a question.
Yeah.
No, I had a question, but as you were talking, you pretty much answered it.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you answered her question, it seems.
Oh, okay. And then Khushi raised her hand.
Khushi has a question.
ಕಳೆದ ವರ್ಷ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅಂತ ಪಳ್ಳೆ
ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅಂತಾನು
ಪಳ್ಳೆ ಐತೆ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ ಕ್ಲೈಮ್ ಕರೆನ
ತಪ್ಪಣ್ಣತಿ ದೇವ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಮಂಟತಿ ದೇವು ತಕ್ಕ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ करता म्हणून
and Achimanoshwata every time.
आणि इतले 200 feet climb करते he does in 3 minutes. इतलं फास्ट होता.
Very fast.
आणि त्यावेळेला इतले जोर पाऊस असला की वार असला की he climbs up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there are thousands of people watching him from the floor, and we start getting, we get so scared because he's not holding on to anything. Just like a monkey, he climbs like a the Spider-Man. He goes so fast.
And by the way, in English there is a word known as juggernaut, right? For huge. And that came from Jagannath.
Oh.
It is correct. I mean, it's not a joke.
Oh, okay.
It came from Jagannath. all encompassing.
Composite.
No, all encompassing.
Ah.
All encompassing. Very
Right. Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise,
Yeah,
please,
Sadhana
maybe we can.
Yeah, we don't see any questions.
Okay.
So now
Yeah.
Sadhana Pachi and Venkat Mom will have a fun session on company.
Hi, everyone. So, tumko fura school anto proverbs shiketanava. Can someone give me an example of a proverb? Anybody? Sayings school anto. Okay, how tumke ek example dit. Barking dogs seldom bite. Aikala hai? Barking dogs seldom bite. It's like people who talk a lot, kaam karna chi, munchak. So, proverbs, idioms, commonly used phrases. These are some things, the language, Sukun language, have changed that. So, whatever you have in English, you may have a similar phrase in Konkani, but the wording is different. So, suddenly, at the Konetuk Sangupura, bod suklave mon. What does that mean? At the Tumka, if you're talking, somebody says, bod suklave. You're thinking, oh, how? Naini, I've not taken a bath. Miguel case wetana. Why is she asking me, bod suklave mon? That just means that, are you crazy? Mon. So, Ashichi, let's talk about some common phrases that we use in Konkani. At the self dialect santo self wingwingada shapuro, tum kakanchi use karta tum share kara. Okay? Screen this now, tumka, Miguel.
Wait.
Okay.
Why does it say they have an already class?
Okay. At the hand phraser, one of the earlier classes are sangil. Compra kum ho lauche. Bono. Kona odagasus polaya. Can anybody tell me? Okay, Pranav agotasa. Anyone else? Anyone else apart from Pranav? You can just unmute and talk. Kona odagasus? Vihan, Kriti, Kunal, Kushi. Okay. Atta, can anybody lick your elbow? Try kara polaya. If anybody licks your elbow, tum khao chocolate pet on deta. You have to actually lick it here. Hanganai, right here. Tumge lenchi, adnale ammalane. Konaka daina nava. So, komprak ho lauche malari. What does that mean?
Don't you think it's impossible?
At tumke gift. But the gift use na. Gift diyu nui use daini. Mod. Amman makka divsa 10 minutes TV mono komprak moulailo. So TV polacha sarta only 10 minutes a day. Uses where? So asal situation saka komprak moulauche. Mantache. Okay. Oh, malari thogotna. Konaka gotaswe what this means mono? Oh, malari thogotna. Anybody wants to guess? You can just say, what do you think it means? Gotna dalari you can just try. Okay, Pranav says, if you know something, you might not know something else. Mono. Anyone else wants to try? Oh, malari to gotna. That means, gotna, not knowing anything.
वो वैगोतना तो वैगोतना.
Exactly. O vaigotna, to vaigotna. At makka. Mak Spanish antu, o male to gotna. I don't know anything about Spanish. If you talk to me in Spanish, I'll be perfectly blank. And
Hola.
I'll tell you,
Hola.
o male to gotna makka.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. ¿Tú?
Okay. Atta, hai konaka gotaswe. What irvattal vaga, makkiyon khaga. Kunal anan mute kele. You want to try, Kunal? What this might mean? Makkiyon khaga. Kasasha Pura, what would that phrase mean?
So it means that it literally means that a passing tiger eats me.
Exactly. So it just means invite trouble. The tiger is just passing by. You're saying, come tiger, come eat me. Right? So you're just asking for trouble. Atta, aaj surprise test naave. Mon Rameshana, teacher ak nimgele. What tervatal vaga? Amkiyon khaga. Your teacher had forgotten. Aaj test diyu chemon. Okay. She had forgotten. If some friend suddenly asks her, don't we have a surprise test today? What will you feel? Why did you remind her? Why did you have to tell her? So, what tervatal vaga? Amkiyon khaga.
Why I like this?
Not everyone, Gunda. Atta? Charana kunkadaka, barane masulu. Okay. So, Ana is Atta, it's a unit of currency. Atta mi like pennies or quarters. So, charane kunkadaka, barane masul. Anyone wants to guess what it means?
Does it mean like the Konkani version of penny-wise pound foolish?
Perfect. So it means you're spending more time or effort on something than it's worth, right? He TV repair korchu badlo navi gheviyat. Okay, so you have an old television, right? And you might have paid a small amount for it, but it keeps getting spoiled. So the amount of money you're spending on that repair is more than the TV itself. Natlar charane kunkdaka, barane masul. Atta, someone else? Anyone wants to try? Vihan, akashaka nisandavorch. Kasasha puro. Kasamun sangho pulak kavetuka, you just want to try? Okay. Arith, tuk sangho asa? Akashaka nisandavorch.
I have no idea what this means.
Okay, you can just translate the words. Akash, you know what Akash means?
No?
Okay.
Sky.
What?
Anyone knows Nisani?
Wait, no, I didn't hear what Pranav said. What does
Sky.
huh?
Sky.
Yes.
Sky.
Yeah. Akash means sky.
Akash male sky and Dodge male kedoj. My keep.
The word chumalaria, keeping. Nisani. Anybody knows Nisani malakasala?
Slide.
Yeah. Slide daviyata.
Slip.
Ladder. Yes. Yeah. Riya sangle. Akashaka nisani davarchi. Do you think anybody can find a ladder that's long enough to reach the sky?
Wait,
Konalagi asgar kade?
wait.
And nobody can walk in the sky.
One of my friends in my school is actually named Akash.
Yeah. lots of our names have meanings, Arath. So that's true. Akash means the sky. You can tell your friend that when you meet him tomorrow. Tashi,
He already knows.
that's good. So Akashak nisarnidavurchi malari. If any of you can find such a long ladder, do you think it's possible? All the way to the sky?
Then you're going to get whatever you want. We are going to deliver it to you.
Okay, so that means an impossible thing. Atta, I'll give you an example. Havarasa international travel malari Akashaka nisandavurchi. So if anybody is planning, especially, okay, this year it might be possible, but last year if somebody wanted to fly internationally, it seemed impossible, right? So the Akashata nisandavurchi. Okay. Atta dolaka matti ghalche. Kone aikala ye?
No.
I think so.
Dolo malakasale.
Eyes.
Eyes. Matti is dust, right?
Matte is.
Aniki, my ghalchna.
Dolaka matti ghalchi. Throw dust into your eyes. That is, cheat someone. Ata $100 sak now PlayStation mein. Tugel dolaka matti ghalta sach. If somebody is trying to cheat you, right? Tashi. So this is a phrase that you can use. Kasa tumak dola matti ghalta asva.
What is
Mon.
What does that mean? I don't get what PlayStation means.
That's good for now. It's a toy. Okay. So, huna utkach ghotu. Konaka translate kuru asiya? What it might mean?
Or something.
Yeah.
I think he kalki related to kapcha because English antute hun my heart and heart thade pante my kopya na would mandati.
That's a great try. So, yeah, this is something like
hot water. I know what it's like to be in a seemingly impossible situation.
exactly impossible monokai sticky situation. See, you have drunk something hot, right? So gil chadaina, you can't swallow. It's going to burn your throat, but you can't spit it out. It will be rude. So gil chadaina, thukurodaina. You can't drink it. You can't spit it out. So something that's hard. You're in a sticky situation. You don't know what to do. For example, suppose two close friends of yours they share a common birthday, and both of them have invited you to their birthday party, right? So, Miguel don friends al birthday ekku divasu. Konal birthday attend koro.
What if the birthdays
Makka.
are at the same time?
Sadly, they are. If they were not, you could have attended both. No, Makka, unatka ghotu. Okay, this is a common one. Hai tumya ikona shapuraj. Nanchak got nadalari angan ware.
What does angan mean?
Angan means courtyard. Anybody wants to try? There is a Hindi thing also. Nach na aaye angan teda. Nancha got nadalar angan ware. Konaka try korka? Kasa mean that yamono?
If you don't know,
What does angan mean?
Correct. Kasa kunal?
What does angan mean?
Angan male courtyard gonda. At tumgal ghara yagraka, your yard, your front yard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a Hindi proverb for this, English proverb for this also. Sour grapes. Can you tell me what it means?
Worry, Magala.
Kasan Kushi?
And the word Makala?
I'm sorry, Aikani.
The last word of
Nancha got nadalari, Angan war. War emalari, it's not smooth. It's rough.
If you don't know how to dance well, and if you do it, then you're not going to do it well.
Nah. You are just saying, see, somebody says, dance kari mon. But you don't know how to dance, okay? You don't want to say that mak gotna. Instead of that, you say, oh, have a nal samana, nal raffasa. If everything was smooth, I would have danced. Mon. So it's like, you remember the story? The fox tried to eat those grapes, tak pap jumped korudaini. The grapes were really high. So it kept trying to jump and eat, tak daini. Finally, it said, "Che, I don't want to eat. Those grapes are sour." So instead of tuk korudaina munchake, you just blame something else. For example, there is a concert.
That's mean.
That's not.
That's not super mean, but it's a bit.
Okay. If there is a concert, Monleka, and you really want to go, okay, but ticket mail. So you're like, oh, to singer ve, to like a padmana, tagel concert a con vatta, mon, stuff like that.
But that might.
Okay, I think for now, ami hai ek last Korea. We can have this later as well. So, this one, Arti getlar Ushna, Tirth getlar Saitya. Okay, let me just say. Ushna Malari took a tapailo. It's too hot for you. Saitya gotasve. Who knows Saitya Malakasane? Konaka Saitya Daina Vahanga?
sick. Sick? Is it cold?
It's a cold. Saitya Malari, cold. So, at Arti, at tumi deval Arti get like a shesta palari. Who knows ki thandasta?
Too sensitive.
Hunasa. So, at kasa malari, Arti palari huna. Te hunsan ek tak tapailo. Tirth pitta tumi. At devastana tirth ditach. Tirth pircha hunastva. No. Thanda. So, kasa kelari takka kashta. Arti getla hundale. Tirth pitla thandadale. So, bhari delicate person aka. Arti getlar ushna. Tirth getlar saitya. Murch. Ushna malari? Heat. Tukta payal mat. Kal vattant khelno. Aaj matte duktuve tukka. Tukka. Kasane. Arti getlar ushna. Tirth getlar saitya. A delicate darling manachve. If you just like, oh, if you keep complaining for everything.
Like if somebody
Yeah. So all these are common Konkani phrases. I'm sure tumgal ana malage, especially tumgal ajjo ajji, people back home, they'll have a whole list. Maybe some of you can just send some phrase apart from whatever you have heard. Okay. So that's going to be your homework. Kanche ek phrase ipetoka, meaning ipetoka. Okay? Just give a thumbs up if all you guys heard this and you're going to send me by next class. Okay? Just tumgele anama sangono Facebook group antu WhatsApp antu peteyach. Mak kanche ek konkani common phrase tumi use korche ani taj meaning. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Sadhana. Everyone enjoyed, and some of the phrases are so funny in a way. Can you imagine taking an aarti and feeling hot, and taking tirth and feeling cold? The literal meaning is so funny.
Yeah, very nice, Sadhana.
Even that idiom is very nice. If a person doesn't know to dance, he'll say the stage is Vankade. Angan Peda.
Good.
That's also very nice.
Thank you.
Bye.
Konaki questions, Satwa? Anyone has any questions for Sadhana Pachi? Okay, so after this, after your class, before next class, post a small video of yourself saying a Konkani phrase. It can be something that Sadhana Pachi taught, or better, it'll be nice. It'll be nice if you can come up with a new phrase. Learn it from your parents or grandparents, like Sadhana Pachi said. So, Ami, we'll end our class now. We'll, Ami, Sarva Mangala Mangalya Munya. Can you all join your hands in prayer? And you can unmute and say it, huh? Sarva Mangala Mangalye Ve Sarvartha
Sadhike
Ani Amit Panspand Vaggi Om Namah Shivaya Munyava. You all sit. If you are on a chair, it's fine. If you are on a sofa, to me, crisscross applesauce. If you can do crisscross applesauce. Just take 5 times, okay? Om Namah
Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Good. Times is enough for now. On your own, you can say 11 times. Some people will say 100 times or more. Thank you everyone for joining the Gurukul class on a weekday, and hope you enjoyed it. You like the new format, a little bit shorter and interesting stories and learning new things. Everyone liked it? Howard back?
Ready?
Okay, so we'll see you 2 Tuesdays later. Okay, so not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.